Hello and welcome to this episode. This is going to be a little bit of a different episode than what one is used to, and more of envisioning and exploration in a very loose sense. But yeah, so when it comes to envisioning a new society, there are many practical aspects important, of course. Yet, everything in that sense starts with a new vision, as the foundation of the practical aspects would follow after. But as much as one can envision things, it does remain important to keep in mind that anything like this would start small, local, and on a more personal level. In that sense, the ideas here are much like a palette of inspiration, more than anything that is easily manifested within the world. Yet it is through such inspiration that our own personal endeavors can get a higher goal to aim towards, even if what we truly would achieve would be a much more local and smaller version of this. Even if what we truly would achieve would be a much more local and smaller version of this. Yet, the basis of any society and of anything really begins with what is local and small. The reason why I'm making this video is to, very much just to explore this kind of idea and put it out there, and really want to see just some initial thoughts, maybe, but also really just put it out there as a sort of inspiration board, video where one can be inspired by and to see what else would be possible based on ancient wisdom, a lot of it which I go much deeper into within my Alchemy of the Psyche book, link in the description. But based on this work that I've done and the extensive research, so this is kind of like a potential of, what it could be. A very idealized potential, and the real world, actual practical ideas and implementation of it would be much different and much more, going into the practical nitty-gritty kind of details, and would not be exactly like this. But I do want to still paint this picture to, for the sake of painting this picture, and to kind of, see how we could ground this somewhat into a more realistic and practical kind of essence. But that's something for down the line. As such, one can see this video as an open exploration of various potential ideas for a new vision for society shaped by ancient wisdom. This imagined society would embrace a holistic worldview, honoring the interconnectedness of all life and aspiring to nurture harmony between humanity and nature, whilst incorporating modern technological elements into the mix. It is about finding the right balance between nature, humans, and technology, in my own opinion. As such, it would be a different type of society, where a deep emphasis on community bonds and shared experiences would also very much permeate every aspect of society as well. The rituals like the Choreos and Actea rites that I will talk about on the channel more often would draw individuals together to explore personal and collective shadows, forging deep connections and fostering a profound sense of belonging and interconnectedness. And regarding, both the Choreos and Actea rites, you can also learn more about that in my book Alchemy of the Psyche, but also within my History of Consciousness course on Patreon as well, where a deep emphasis on community bonds and shared experiences would also permeate every aspect of society. The rituals like the Choreos and Actea rites that one can learn more about in my book Alchemy of the Psyche or my History of Consciousness course. Well, it would draw individuals together to explore personal and collective shadows, forging deep connections and fostering a sense of belonging and interconnectedness, where through festivals, rituals, and ceremonies celebrating nature's cycles and community milestones, the society would foster resilience, identity, and cultural continuity. And these communal celebrations would honor the interconnectedness of all life, strengthening social cohesion and preserving cultural heritage. Where, inspired by the Hieros Gamos ritual, symbolizing the sacred union of masculine and feminine energies, equality, collaboration, and respect for diverse perspectives would also thrive. And in that sense, through these rituals, each individual would be valued for their inherent worth, empowered to express their authentic selves fully. Especially because these rituals in the more Jungian sense would be connected to, both anima work and animus work as much as shadow work. And, this aspect would also be tied to the sovereignty goddess and the connected rituals that guide outcasts or the more, marginalized people within society back into, the whole of society, making them a part of it. And through this, the society would reaffirm its commitment to justice, compassion, and the dignity of every individual. And at the same time, these rituals and ceremonies mark significant milestones, seasonal transitions, and communal achievements, offering opportunities for reflection, gratitude, and collective renewal. And these celebrations honor the sacredness of life's journey, thus weaving a tapestry of meaning and significance into the fabric of communal existence. When it would now come to, for instance, education, this would be viewed as a holistic journey of personal and spiritual growth, encompassing not only academic knowledge but also emotional, physical, and spiritual development, where it would foster a deep connection to the land and the values embodied by the sovereignty goddess archetype, nurturing ecological literacy and traditional ecological knowledge. Cultural practices such as storytelling, rituals, and ceremonies would also reinforce the spiritual and ethical dimensions of environmental stewardship, instilling reverence and responsibility for the earth in future generations. As such, children would learn to honor and protect the sacredness of the natural world, embodying the principles of reciprocity, abundance, and interconnectedness. Also, viewing learning as a lifelong journey of personal and spiritual growth, with opportunities for individuals to explore their interests, passion, and potentials at every stage of life. And within this society, there would also be a recognition and reference for the presence of archetypal patterns in individuals and collective consciousness. Rituals and cultural practices would provide sacred avenues for engaging with these archetypes in transformative ways, promoting psychological and cultural harmony. Temples, sacred sites, and community gatherings would then also serve as focal points for spiritual exploration, contemplation, and collective worship, fostering a sense of reverence for the divine within and beyond, where rituals honor the sovereignty goddess, for instance, the thunder god, and other deities of nature, symbolizing humanity's interconnectedness with the earth and the cosmos. Where practices such as the Choreos and Arctea rites would encourage individuals to explore and integrate their shadow aspects, fostering psychological wholeness and self-awareness. And by confronting and embracing their unconscious material, individuals would embark on a journey of inner transformation and personal growth. And this process would cultivate greater empathy, compassion, and understanding within the community, strengthening relationships and fostering a culture of mutual support and acceptance. And these rituals and cultural practices would also be adaptable and personalized, allowing individuals and communities to infuse them with their unique experiences and beliefs. And this personalization enhances the transformative potential of these rituals, fostering a deeper connection to the archetypal patterns and spiritual energies. Where finally, rituals like the winter solstice ceremony would symbolize the cyclical nature of death and rebirth, offering opportunities for inner and outer renewal. And by delving into the depths of their shadows and integrating unconscious material, individuals would contribute to the collective evolution of society, fostering a culture of growth, resilience, and continuous renewal. And viewed through a Jungian lens, the Koryos and Arctea rituals, along with the winter solstice celebration, would form a structured framework for active forms of individuation within a communal context. And through these rites, ceremonies, and also the connected spirituality and educational focus, there would also be a big focus on land stewardship and ecological restoration. Communities would embrace regenerative agriculture, permaculture, and sustainable land management practices, seeking to heal ecosystems, restore biodiversity, and mitigate the impacts of climate change. And through restoration projects, the society would endeavor to honor the sacredness of nature, fostering resilience and vitality in the environment. With rituals and traditions venerating the sovereignty goddess and thunder god serving as poignant reminders of this interconnectedness between humans and the earth, inspiring reverence and respect for the natural world. And by cultivating a deep appreciation for nature's beauty and wisdom, individuals would forge a harmonious relationship with the environment, rooted in respect and care. As such, sacred sites and natural landscapes would be safeguarded as repositories of spiritual significance and cultural heritage, ensuring their preservation as sacred legacies for future generations. Next to this, embracing a nature-based spirituality rooted in animism, the society would also recognize the sacredness and intelligence inherent in all aspects of nature. Trees, rivers, mountains, and animals would be revered as sentient beings deserving of respect and reverence. With rituals and ceremonies forging connections with these natural entities, fostering a sense of kinship and reciprocity between humanity and the broader web of life. As such, sacred groves would stand as sanctuaries of natural beauty and spiritual significance, where communities gather to honor and commune with the natural world. And these sacred places, imbued with the presence of the sovereignty goddess and nature spirits, would serve as settings for rituals, ceremonies, and offerings, expressing gratitude for nature's abundance and seeking blessings for the community's well-being. With priestesses acting as mediators between humanity and the natural realm, serving as guardians of sacred groves and custodians of nature's wisdom, next to holding sway over the social order. And revered for their profound connection to the land, they would lead ritual ceremonies and teachings aimed at fostering harmony and balance between humans and nature, and their guidance would ensure the well-being of both communities and the ecosystems they inhabit. Where in the Koryos rituals, priests would play a pivotal role as mentor figures, guiding participants through transformative experiences that facilitate personal growth and communal bonding. Rooted in the archetype of the mentor or wise elder, these priests would serve as custodians of tradition, guardians of wisdom, and facilitators of spiritual development within the community. And as guardians of wisdom, priests would hold a sacred responsibility to impart spiritual teachings and guidance to participants. Drawing from their own experiences and spiritual insights, they would also offer mentorship and support to individuals embarking on the journey of self-discovery and personal transformation. And the role of priests would extend beyond the confines of the ritual space as well, encompassing a broader connection to society as spiritual leaders and community builders. And as such, they would serve as pillars of strength and wisdom within the community, offering counsel, support, and inspiration to individuals navigating the complexities of life. And in this society, the divine would also not be confined to temples or designated places of worship. Rather, it would permeate all aspects of daily life, infusing each moment with a sense of reverence and awe. Inspired by the sentiments expressed in Mithraism, where the gods were perceived as omnipresent and intimately connected to the natural world. And as such, the society would find opportunities for prayer and veneration in the most mundane of activities. Now, when it comes to any society, it is not only about ideas, spirituality, or the connection with nature. There are also other aspects that are important to consider, which are more societal and practical in nature. Governance, for instance, plays a pivotal role in shaping the collective ethos and values. The bedrock of this society's governance model would be most likely decentralization, where decision-making power would be distributed among smaller community units, fostering local autonomy and enabling individuals to actively participate in shaping their shared destiny. And the reason for this mainly is, because through these rituals and the empowering of individuals and the nature of kind of, the more animistic, pagan, communal sense that is core to this type of society, decentralization would make sense. And as such, decision-making power would be distributed among smaller community units, fostering local autonomy and enabling individuals to actively participate in shaping their shared destiny. And these units, whether organized by geographical proximity, shared interests, or cultural affinities, would prioritize consensus building and inclusive dialogue, ensuring that diverse voices are heard and valued in matters affecting the community. Think also here the Koyo-spec model that I talked about within the project Windhorse. And these councils would consist of representatives from diverse sectors of society chosen for their wisdom, integrity, and dedication to serving the common good, where leadership would be viewed as a sacred duty grounded in reverence for the land and a profound sense of responsibility towards the community, where leaders would exemplify values of reciprocity, humility, and stewardship, guiding society toward harmony and balance. And this aspect of this is based upon, the original sense of the meaning of being sovereign, which is not what modern people generally tend to think about. It's more in the sense of, how for instance, the more, Celtic kings would perceive being sovereign, in the sense of serving the whole, and with that, also being there, the connection with the sovereignty goddess as well, and with that to the land. Now, when it comes to matters of justice, the society would most likely prioritize restorative approaches aimed at healing and reconciliation rather than punitive measures, mostly based on the more, Jungian approach regarding these rituals. And as such, conflicts and disputes would be resolved through restorative justice practices such as mediation, dialogue circles, and community-based accountability processes, where individuals would be encouraged to take responsibility for their actions, repair harm where possible, and reintegrate into the community with support and guidance, fostering a culture of forgiveness, compassion, and collective healing. Further, community-based courts and mediation processes could further provide avenues for resolving conflicts with fairness and equity, drawing inspiration from indigenous models that prioritize collective well-being and consensus-based decision-making. Now, when it comes to economics, I'm not much of an economist myself, though looking at the principles of this type of society rather than being driven solely by profit motives, economic endeavors would most likely prioritize meeting the needs of the community while respecting ecological limits. And as such, cooperative enterprises, mutual aid networks, and local currencies would facilitate resource sharing and mutual support, fostering economic resilience and social cohesion. The focus would most likely be on sustainable production and consumption practices that respect ecological limits. But while communities would operate autonomously, they would also be interconnected through networks of communication, trade, and mutual aid, where collaboration and cooperation between communities would also be encouraged, facilitating the exchange of ideas, resources, and cultural practices. And through interconnected networks, the society would foster a sense of collective solidarity and collaboration, harnessing the power of community to address shared challenges and opportunities. So in that sense, the economical side of such a society would still be about trade, earning money, and creating things. It would, however, be much more local and less industrialized, focusing more on the process of creation and the quality over the quantity. Whilst reusing what can be recycled. And practices like permaculture and community-supported agriculture would also further ensure food security and ecological resilience while honoring the sacredness of the earth. And finally, the delicate balance between honoring ancient traditions and adapting to modern realities requires thoughtful consideration. While ancient rites hold wisdom and relevance, they must be interpreted and applied in ways that align with contemporary values, needs, and challenges. So in that sense, there's much to think about when it comes to these ideas, but this is a start. The beginning of an idea. The real practicalities of the actual putting something into practice is entirely something else. As through cooperation and different ways of interpretation and everyone's, own personal vision, it will grow into its own thing, which I in the end hope that it would, as one person putting forth an idea is only the beginning of such an exploration. And if we would blindly follow the ideas of just one thinker, we would miss out on the needed insights that, whilst changing, such initial ideas would make it more whole and more grounded. And it is through taking ownership of such initial ideas and turning them through the cross-pollination of ideas into something truly one's own that over time it will come into fruition. But let's not dwell on ideas and get lost in thought, as action and the practicalities of life are as important. In the end, we are here, to have an embodied experience of life. But I do hope that this video gave you the inspiration to, in whatever way, take a piece of this essence and apply it into your own life in some way. To really, embody the essence or spirit of it and make it truly something yours. When it comes to, implementing them, it is very local how that would be done anyways. When it comes to, the ecosystem and the ecology of, the land. There is no one-size-fits-all solution for this kind of thing. And as such, this really would need to be very apply to very local conditions that I, as one individual, cannot think about. Similarly, any other one individual cannot think about that very much either, because we do not have the capacity to think about all of these variables. But luckily, we together, if one would each take a piece of this idea and try to find a way to apply it in a very more grounded, practical sense in one's own life and do something, however small, with it, that can actually, grow into something that would be real and would actually be grounded in a more realistic sense. That in the end is what I very much hope that this video can inspire, to inspire a different way of doing things in the world, to find a way to coexist, not just with each other, but with the world as a whole. And with that said, I want to say thank you for watching and see you next time.